Peter May, speaking to you from my current base at Columbia, where I'm working with the SDSN on agriculture and ecosystem services. In Brazil, uh, while I'm here on my sabbatical from the Federal Rural University of Rio de Janeiro, where I also teach in the MDP program. So we're going to be discussing today deforestation and altered landscapes in the Amazon, and thinking about how the SDGs might be able to contribute to that as a preamble to a discussion about agriculture in the uh, couple of 3 meetings from now. So looking at what's been going on in the Amazon over the last several decades, you know that there's been a lot of burning going on, cutting and burning of the native Amazon forest, and that's releasing a lot of carbon. Even more recently, we've had fire points cited in September, on the 14th of September, significantly increasing over the last few months. Something that we've been tracing for a long time as being driven by roadways as one of the principal drivers, showing the deforestation paths along the Amazon corridors that have been created by road beds throughout the arc of destruction that is known. Other drivers is really significant. About 70% of all the Amazon deforestation has occurred because of pastures having been opened up into the Amazon, and the rise of the cattle population in the region has been really significant. So we have about 1 hectare per animal, that being a significant source of CO2 emissions. One animal, 120 tons of CO2 being released to the atmosphere. Deforestation has been simulated as having taking this kind of continuing corridor path if business as usual conditions were as predicted. But things have changed, and we have seen decline in the rate of deforestation since about 2005, and a relative decoupling of beef production and soybean production in the Amazon from the deforestation, so that there has been a restructuring of where the deforestation has occurred. It's occurring more on smaller properties in understory areas to avoid the satellite imagery, and in areas which are recently being settled in public lands. One of the best ways to combat deforestation and protect biodiversity in the gradually moving toward a tipping point that might occur in the Amazon in the arc of deforestation is to protect areas that remain. One of the ways being to create conservation areas. Those are in the dark green, and there are some conservation areas that have been created that are in sustainable use by the riverine populations of the region. The brown areas are all in indigenous reserves, so you can see that a significant portion, probably about 30% of the Amazon, is now covered by indigenous areas, and a significant part of the region also covered by protected areas. So have a lot of efforts being undertaken in various parts of the region to develop sustainable use of the remaining forests, including the collection of Brazil nuts and other native tree products, the use of native cocoa, also in the photograph, showing that there is productive ways of using the remaining biodiversity, as well as managing biodiversity in the productive landscape, where this has occurred also in settlements that have now protected part of their areas in collective commons reserves. There's also been a lot of work underway to try to ensure pathways towards sustainable cattle ranching. So we see that there has been a decline in the intensity of activity that is deforesting, while there's an intensification of livestock stocking capacities in ranches that are trying to become more of a sustainable footing than the business as usual way. So that was what I had to offer for you this time. And in about 3 weeks, I'll be back to visit you again on the 29th to talk about some of the agricultural pathways and the options for changing the business as usual to a more sustainable footing based on some of our work here. Talking to you here, you can get in touch with me if you want while I'm here at Columbia. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.